The topic for this week's tech seminar is OSI. OSI stands for Open Systems Interconnection. It has been developed by ISO or International Organization for Standardization in 1984. It's a 7-layer architecture with each layer having specific tasks to perform. All the 7 layers work collaboratively to transmit data from one person to another person across the globe. And OSI is not currently used. What we use now is TCP/IP. TCP/IP is slightly different from OSI, but we still use OSI for when we troubleshooting for network problems. As I said, the OSI follows a 7-layer architecture and it follows a top to bottom approach. So the 7th layer of OSI is application layer, the 6th layer is presentation layer, the 5th layer is session layer, the 4th layer is transportation layer, the third layer is network layer, and the second layer is data link layer, and the last layer is physical layer. Last layer or first layer is physical layer. The lowest layer of OSI reference model is physical layer. The physical layer is actually responsible for the connection between the devices. The layer contains data in the form of bits. It is responsible for transmitting individual bits from one node to another. When receiving data, this layer converts the data into form of bits or zeros and ones and sending them to the next layer or the data link layer. The next layer in OSI reference model is data link layer. Data link layer is responsible for node to node message or communication between layers. The main function of data link layer is to make sure error-free transfer of data from one node to another over the physical layer. When a packet of data is arrived in a network, it is responsible for data link layer to transmit it to the host using MAC address. MAC address stands for Media Access Control. Data link layer can be divided into two: logical link control or MAC or Media Access Control. The packet received in network layer is further divided into frames depending on the frame size of network interface card. The next layer or third layer in OSI reference model is network layer. Network layer works for the transmission of data from one host to another in different network. It also takes care of the packet routing or the transmission of data with shortest route possible within all the possible routes. It takes care of its take to the shortest path possible. The senders and receivers IP addresses are placed by the network layer. The routing and logical addressing are the two functions of the network layer. Routing is the network protocols that determines which route is suitable for the packet of data. The next or fourth layer of OSI reference model is transport layer. Transport layer takes services from the network layer and provides services to the transportation layer. The data in the transport layer is referred to as segments. It is responsible for end-to-end delivery of a complete message. The transport layer also provides acknowledgement of the successful data transmission and retransmit data if any error occurs during the data transmission. The fifth layer of voice reference model is session layer. This layer is responsible for establishment of connection, maintenance of sessions, authentication, and also ensures security. The functions of session layer are session establishment, maintenance, and termination. This layer, the layer allows to process to establish, use, and terminate a connection. Synchronization is the another function of a session layer. This synchronization allows process to add checkpoints, which is considered as synchronization points into the data. The synchronization points helps to identify if there any error is occurred during the transfer of the data, and it will be resynchronized properly if there is any problems with the synchronization of the message. The next or sixth layer of voice reference model is presentation layer. Presentation layer is also called translation layer. The data from application layer is extracted here and manipulated as per the required format to transmit to the network. The functions of translation or presentation layer are translation. First function is translation, then comes the encryption or decryption of the data as required. Encryption is done for security. The next function of the translation layer is compression. Compression reduces the size of the data without any change in its behavior. The seventh or the top of the voice reference model is the application layer. Application layer is implemented by network applications. This application produces data which is transferred over the network. This layer serves as a window for application services to access the network for displaying the received information from the user. The example for network applications are Skype, Messenger, etc. So that's the seventh layer of the OSI reference model. OSI reference model is not currently used because of the late invention. Because of its late invention, the currently used method is TCP/IP. But still, OSI reference model is used for troubleshooting purposes.